Okay, so Zach, since I've been babbling, I'm going to be quiet and listen to you ask really smart questions, and then I'll kind of chime in thereafter. So you can start with our friend from Silent Voices and her husband. I'm sorry, your name again, dear, is?
Alex.
Alex, that's right. Okay, go ahead, Zach.
I saw you in photographs and still life, but obviously talking to you in person is a very different experience. And
you did.
So this one kind of hit home with me on a personal level because I grew up with some pretty high-level autistic friends. Kind of all the kids are pretty, I think, about as autistic as possibly can be. And can everybody hear me okay? So I just got an internet connection unstable.
I can hear
message.
you.
Okay, perfect. So, what was... it definitely seems like, if I'm not mistaken, one of your grandchildren is in fact autistic. What was kind of the final catalyst for really wanting to get this production off the ground? What was that final driving force?
Well, I was telling Cindy and Judy the other day that it was when we were in a public space and some people were making fun of my grandson. They were mocking him because he screams. He just does this, it sounds like a bird or something, and people get freaked out because they don't know what it is. They don't know what he's doing. And that was the catalyst. It was like, I'm tired of people not knowing that autistic kids are different, that they have they have certain things that they do. And, we just can't, ignore them. But at the same time, we have to be more sympathetic to that. And, a lot of people think, oh, well, he's throwing a tantrum or he's, acting out. But in fact, like they say in the video, he can't control really what's happening around him, and he gets overwhelmed. So they act out. They do their thing.
The public has a very negative way of when they see these children, and that does hurt. And sometimes it pisses me off.
Sure.
And that's what kind of cultivated the film, being pissed off.
No, I mean, alpha pissed level 10.
Yeah.
If I can interject a quick question.
Of course.
I was just wondering about this. When you have a high level of emotion, like for instance today, I'm very emotional for lots of reasons that'll come out at the awards night, but yet, you have to go on camera now. So now I have to look like there's everything all together. So alternatively, when you're talking about being so pissed and emotional and invested emotionally in what's going on, how are you not losing your cool? I mean, what tricks or techniques have you taught yourself to stay within the zone so we're not having a whole bunch of anarchy and chaos and not getting our productions done?
Health reasons.
Yeah.
Because I do have high blood pressure. And I have talked to neurologists. I had CT scans and all that crazy stuff. And I don't want to get too far into that, but to have a good chi.
Yeah, exactly. Take a deep breath and just realize that they don't really know all what's going on. And it's not their fault sometimes. So it's kind of that compassionate, sympathetic ear that you got to have too.
Is that my connection?
As a child growing up, I'm born in the 50s. In the 50s and 60s, they were not diagnosed what to do. So now, decades later, there's services for these children. Before they were mocked. So that's the way things go because no one knows. There's no studies.
But it's getting better today. I mean, people are more aware of it, but there's people that are not. So that's another reason why we wanted to do the film, to educate people too.
You betcha.
One of his first signs that we knew something was unusual, we went to visit him at their apartment. We used to live in San Francisco, so they live in San Diego. We went down there and he was sitting on the floor and he was snapping his neck. I mean, he was doing it so fast I thought his neck was going to break. I'm going like, whoa, he's going really hard. Is he going to hurt himself? I'm like,
well, there's lots of signs. There's lots of signs, and it just depends on the levels. There's different. That's what they call the autistic spectrum, as you know, because there's different degrees. and he's more high functioning, thank God. But there's others that are not. So, you know, we just have to do what we can. Educate people is the key.
Absolutely. Okay, Zach, sorry. Didn't mean to interject there.
Oh
Sorry.
no, that's totally fine. I think that you've touched on this, or at least kind of given me a sense of what the answer is going to be a little bit, but what was your experience when reaching out to the other parents to get them to contribute their experiences to the film? Was it overwhelmingly positive? Were they hesitant at first?
No, in fact, a lot of them were really willing to like to put their voices to the film. Not, you know, no pun intended, but they really wanted to say what they had to say about autism and their child or their sibling or their or themselves. You know, they wanted to go on camera and express that. So I had no problem with that, and it was really nice to know that people are, you know, still want to do that. You know, because sometimes people get labeled and they think, well, you know, I don't want people to think that I'm just doing this because, you know, of me, but I want to do it because I want more people to learn about it. I want more people to understand that it's something that we have to deal with every day, and it's not something that is taken lightly.
To see somebody in public who had a child that I could feel was stressed, I would actually offer, may I help you with anything?
And that's another thing that we wanted to accomplish too. We wanted to be able
reaching
to
out.
have people like say, oh, well, your kid's acting out. Is there any way we can help, or is there anything we can do to help you as a parent, you know, right
And I
now?
go get some jelly bellies for the child, you know. Distraction training.
You ever notice how it is? That
It's really
still...
funny because after this incident happened,
Go ahead.
huh? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
It's like after this incident happened at the food truck place, this woman came up to me and she says, well, you know, my grandson, she says, runs around every day, slams doors, and just keeps running around, and I can't get him to sit down. I can't get him to. And I said, well, how old is your grandson? And she said, he's about 3. I said, well, have you had him tested? Because that's a good thing to do. She goes, the parents won't test them.
Yeah,
They don't think anything's wrong with
denial.
them.
That's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's denial. A lot of it is denial. So, because she didn't know what to do. You know, I said, yeah, well, if you can, suggest to them to get them tested.
She was crying too.
Yeah, she was crying. I said, oh God, I feel so bad for this woman, you know?
Yeah, she was crying.
So that was another thing too that sparked me, the education factor of it, you know?
Do you feel sometimes that people are so fearful of having that finite result, meaning that having, you know, be told that you have autism, having a child that has autism and everything that comes with it? Do you feel like sometimes that finality is almost making them so fearful that this will become more of a lingering problem? Because the you know, if the signs are on the wall and people refuse to do it, you know, numbers are not going to go up, but then you're going to have children that are untreated. You know what I mean? Do you feel like the panic or the fear is just too much for some of these parents? Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties, it would appear.
I was just going to say technical difficulties. Judy, you should say.
I think they really how the service, how they're going to get help, you know? Whoop, can you hear me?
Okay. Now I can hear.
Yeah, we can now.
I'm good. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of, and I actually taught preschool for years and had to conference with some parents. We had to let them know that we think your child is autistic and I think you should get them tested.
Mhm.
And they would be so like distraught, like, what are you talking about? You know, they would be upset and scared. And I don't blame them, because then you have to figure out what kind of services they're going to be able to, you know, be obtainable to them. And at the same time, you know, it's a whole lifetime almost of just help, you know.
Well,
So
I see it a lot easier for affluent people to get the services because they have services, but the people that don't have, and
Uh-oh.
Are looking for help. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's tough to get.
You have to get a physician to do it. You just can't, go to anybody.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've learned a lot, having a grandson that way, but I've also learned a lot being in the education sector. So, but it's still tough for a lot of people because they fall into that special needs category, and there's a whole lot of things that go on with special needs, as you might know, services and non-services, and just the waiting and the paperwork and the whole red tape stuff.
I have something political, but wants to get rid of Social Security disability. If you have issues with health, illness, they're going to need the help.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's continued.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Mark, he's coming on for the panel,
Yeah,
of course.
that's
So
a big thing.
more ears
Hello.
are better, of course. I didn't want to interject, but yet I still want to ask this question, which is this. I was just wondering if you'll make a movie where I don't end up crying in it. Like where I could actually smile or feel good, not be depressed and want to like hide under a blanket for a week. Hello, you're depressing me. I love your projects, but I'm like, holy hell, here she comes again. And then it's the Kleenex, and then I got to do all the drama. And I'm like, come on. Is there something you're going to do?
Yeah. We are going to do something funny. So I was talking about that martial arts film, that Bushido Boy. It's going to be a martial arts comedy.
Yes.
So
She's
there you
finally
go.
doing something. This is awesome.
Yeah.
That would be just terrific because I yell all the time in this house. I'm sick of dying, horror, cutting people up, him getting shot, him getting kicked over. Oh, you want a little variety. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to be doing something funny. Okay, now I'm really being quiet, Zach. Go ahead. I'm going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that we've
get my headset just in case I need it.
touched on the start of this vein.
Okay.
Well,
A
just
little
in
bit,
case.
maybe just in case.
What do you think has been the most challenging aspect of outreach for this so far? Like, have you found people that, just kind of want to deny or turn away, not deal with? Would you say that generally people start that process of informing and educating?
I think people have been very, great about outreach. They've been wanting us to show our film for like more educational purposes, like in schools and things like that, and for all kinds of stuff that has to do with education, because I feel like mental health, that kind of stuff too. But people have been really great about receiving this film. So
Yeah.
I had no worries about it.
Granddaughter's an achiever. So you've seen her in the video. She really wants to help.
Yeah.
But sometimes even at 10 years old, she turns alpha on the adults.
Oh boy.
This is how we should be doing it, Grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl, but like, girlfriend, I'm the adult here, but this is how we do it, Grandpa.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah.
Judy
There
wanted to
was
say
one
something.
line in your film that really just stayed with me, and that was a father saying, "You don't know how many more people it takes to raise an autistic child."
Right.
And
Right.
that's something I would never have thought about.
Right.
Yeah.
And and Joseph, who said that, he has a unique situation because him and his partner adopted Tony, who was autistic. They willingly adopted an autistic child, so they knew what they were in for, and they went for it. They just said, "Hey, we really love this kid. We're just gonna do our best." And he was the one who gave the best, statement about raising an autistic child. It takes a whole state. It doesn't just take one person or two people.
Yeah, they're lucky here because we have a multi-generational house. So with Damon. It's 5-on-1. Sometimes he wins. 5-on-1 sounds better than 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Well, any parent knows
Yeah.
the kids and the relatives always win. Any kid wins. Isn't that right? I mean, even with your own kids,
Yeah.
they still win. Even when I'm pissed, like today, I was like, okay, honey, sure, whatever you say. I should have been like, no, but I'm like, oh, sure, honey. They always win. Sure, honey, whatever you want.
You're pretty nice about that. I would be like, no. It's automatic.
Yeah, I need to learn to be like, no, just like that. Like, no, 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 no. I can't even say no to him, for God's sake. It's ridiculous. I got to learn a little self-restraint here.
Well, there you go.
I'm sorry, Zach. Go ahead. Here I go again.
No, I've honestly touched on everything that I wanted to. I was actually going to
seriously?
ask if you had a wrap-up question.
I have 2 wrap-up questions. Well, I could talk to Maria all day. I mean, that
Perfect.
kind of goes without saying. My first question out of the 2 is, moving forward, outside of what you've already told us about the comedic sort of thing, I'm curious to see if you've come across anyone during the festival that you really feel a connection with, like you may want to work with or have a concept and thought, you know what, they could bring something to the table with me, or vice versa.
Well, I'm getting some good energy from Judy here, so
I
maybe
knew it.
we can talk, about something.
I always love it when they're like,
women in film.
yes. I like that. You and your imaginary husband, who's real now, which we like because he actually came to the panel, so we know this. I think it's important that people mesh together and do things together. I also would like I would like Maria, of course, at some point, to maybe go out of your comfort level, meaning that, do you ever think that you would do something like on the television side of things, or maybe stage? Because I don't think I've ever seen you like on a formal stage, like a theater stage. Is that possible for you or the both of you, you think?
Hormone stage?
Mhm.
Or 2, like,
Well, as in
create
like,
something for the stage?
you
Oh,
and the woman
actually,
together.
I have a big theater background. Oh, together?
Mhm.
I don't know, but we actually done a lot. We've done some theater stuff together. I actually have a big theater background. I mean,
I can't memorize lines very well.
yeah,
I hear you.
he can't.
I have to improv.
So I had him in Twilight Zone Hitchhiker, and I adapted it for a theater production, and he had to be the mechanic. He couldn't remember his lines. It was only like 3 lines.
Yeah.
And I went, well, you're fired. You're
You
not
know
doing
what?
this
It was
anymore.
hot. It was
You're fired.
in there.
No, just go away. Leave.
That's what I told him. You're fired.
Yeah.
You can't do theater. I feel
No, I get
at
it.
least you get a chance. You can go back and say cut. But I would love to do something more theater. I actually have a couple of things that I've written for theater, and I've actually adapted to film. So
Nice. Very nice.
Where do
yeah,
you
I love
live?
to do it. I live actually in Oregon now. I'm in a suburb
Oh.
of Portland called Clackamas.
But
But
Portland is not burning.
yes, Portland's not
Oh,
burning.
thank you, God, for that.
But I'm we're actually originally from San Francisco.
That's right. Yes, I was going to
So-
mention that. The other thing is, moving forward, what's the word on the Vegas festival? Because we, of course, had mentioned that you're involved with that. Is that going to come to fruition? What's going to go on now with that?
Well, they did have one last year, and they originally do stuff in Miami, the widescreen festival with Jared Knowles, and he actually is it's on hold right now because everything is shut down, and Miami's like
Sure.
a big hot spot. So
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah, so we'll see what he's
I
gonna
get
do.
Now, before it,
Yeah, it's tough.
well, it's tough for everybody.
I don't know.
It's disappointing.
Yeah,
Very
Yeah.
disappointing.
yeah.
So before I forget to ask you this, because we didn't do that, I think, yesterday when we were talking about it. If folks want to find the both of you on social media or otherwise, or get connected with you, how do they do that?
Well, we do have a Facebook page for Asian Mainstream Productions, which is temporarily shut down because it was sort of hacked.
Oh,
But,
yeah, I remember.
We're gonna reinstate it.
Okay.
Yeah, when we get a chance. So
Okay.
yeah, and then I'm on LinkedIn, so you can reach me there too.
Simple
And
enough.
I have a Facebook.
But I never
page.
did a Twitter or Instagram. Okay.
Really?
I'm not either.
Well, I can always get your contact information. I
Yeah.
can always get your contact information, and we can talk.
Just so you guys know, I was going to mention this, and I'll say it again tonight at the awards night. What my intention is not only to connect the filmmakers with each other; they've been connected since we all got accepted. But what I will do is take the individual cast, and unless somebody tells me otherwise, I'll just connect you guys to the filmmakers. In which case, then everybody has a means to reach out and cast with each other, write with each other. I wish I could say, if Michael and I could figure out a way to do a virtual lounge, we had thought about that idea, but it was just becoming so hard. So I'll connect everybody that way. You guys can find each other, start working and networking with each other. That's like the best way to go as far as that goes. Now, Maria, I wasn't sure if you were planning on attending tonight or not, because I unfortunately don't see you nominated, which makes me very sad, but I didn't know if you were still coming or not. Are you attending awards night tonight?
I'm going to try. I wasn't really sure, so.
Okay, so let me just tell you something real quickly in case you don't make it. As you know, I'm all about the surprises. And so if you don't show up tonight, this is what you'll be missing. And I'll just tell you so that you know anyways. Clearly, and unfortunately, even though you didn't get the nomination, you know that, of course, I have some very wonderful friends. And so I've arranged to make sure that you have 3 reviews done of Silent Voices. You'll have an interview for that. And I have sent off your film to 2 of my distribution partners. So, because you had asked me for distribution, and so hence I try very hard to deliver. So we'll see how it goes. And I'll get a hold of you after the fact once the festival gets done. I need to get like the initial stuff and then take a vacation with my children this coming weekend. We need a break. Mama needs a break.
Yes, you do.
And then I'll get back to it or whatever. But I'll keep you in the loop and send that off to you and stuff. So in case you don't get to see me tonight, know that you are walking away with something and not nothing. I couldn't possibly not try every possible thing that I could to help you. You have been just sunshine on my heart. That's all. I mean, I can't say it any better than that. So both Michael and myself are very grateful for your presence, as well as contributing to this festival in Bedford Falls. So we thank you very, very much. And congratulations on getting into the festival and having such a wonderful event and meeting new people. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for everything again.
I didn't do anything. I'm just kind of the vessel, the middle ground. And if you guys want to stick around and watch this, feel free. We're going to sit and chat with the entire cast. I'm super excited because they're all here. I'm like, well, not everybody, but we've got a bunch of folks here, so we can get going on my father's fabulous funeral. I have lots of different things going on in my head at the moment, but the big question for me to start with, and then Zach, I'll let you take it over, is the subject matter. Obviously, it's very touching and also very tickly, is what I call it, like comedic tickle, so to speak. Was it more important for you to rely more on the comedic factor, or were you really wanting to have a kind of a nice, even combination of comedy with a clear message about death?
Well, Mark is really good at having both, making sure that it's very funny, but also having a part that touches you. And that's very important to me, because that's what life is. It's not all funny, it's not all sad, it's a combination of the two.
He's going to go play.
And so, I've said this before, I love the last scene in the film where Mark, playing my brother, and I sit there and we just sort of have a brotherly, sisterly conversation, and we're staring at our father's grave. And Mark, as my brother, finds a quarter, says my father was very cheap, and he did pick up quarters, or he'd even pick up pennies from the ground. And Mark finds this quarter, and I say, "Oh, Dad would be so proud." And then the music changes, and we look straight ahead, and the film ends, and I still get touched every time I see the end of the film.
Well, you can't not smile. You can't.
The story is very much based on reality, but very embellished, with Mark and his wonderful dialogue making it, we think, very funny.
Oh gosh, look at that. You know, I feel like when you look at this sort of production, one of the things that stands out is the different personalities in each scene, at least for me. And the judges too mentioned that. Like in one scene, you've got a whole bunch of characters and it almost kind of reinvents itself in the next scene. And you've got a new bunch of personalities. You two, meaning playing the brother and sister component, you seem somewhat same but different in real life. So was it a good combination because of that personality parallel? Or is it perfect that a brother and sister would be somewhat opposite but somewhat similar? Meaning your real characters versus your created ones.
Well, my real brother thinks of himself as a comedian, and he really did give like a stand-up act when he was giving my father's eulogy, and it really was very embarrassing. And Mark is a comedian for real.
Yes.
He's also a trained clown. I don't know if you're aware of that. And also because Mark and I have been working together for so long.
Sure.
I mean, we played husband and wife. We played Mark, boss and potential employee. We played a number of things together, so we're very comfortable playing with each other.
Oh, and it shows.
Mark.
It totally shows. You know, I think that's the other thing too, is that audience want to watch characters that they can relate to. All of us have had to bury someone. All of us have been in awkward situations with family members, and all of us have sometimes had reservations about, oh, okay, well, how are we going to meld our way through this? You know, or in some cases, like with this, the stepmother, how are we going to get the hell out of here with her? You know, get her out of the way, etc. You know, so it's very cute, and I like how it flows, and I also like the chemistry. The other thing that I want to mention, I'll hand it over to Zach, is of course the writing. Most of these films, if not all of these films, are pretty par on when it comes to exceptional writing. In the case of your particular project, one of the things that the judges mentioned to me was that it's almost as if the writer himself wrote specifically for each personality, knowing them on a personal level. So it begs to ask the question, did you cast all your friends? Meaning that you know them so well that you could write for them. Make sense?
Well, that's kind of the way I work, actually.
Okay.
Well, not all the time, but I have a lot of projects where I write screenplays with specific people in mind. And, you know, that's what they did in the old repertoire system back in the 30s and 40s, where Marlon Brando came from, and all those, you know, what's it called? Actors Workshop group, the actors group from the 30s and 40s. After they had a repertoire of actors that were all like the great writers were writing for, and they knew who they were writing for. But I do a thing in my school where I have people take a workshop with me. It's called Star in a Movie, and I play with everybody for about 3-4 weeks and do improvs and get to know them real well and ask them what their special skills are. And then I have a very powerful image of each person who is in that group. And then I write a script for the people in the group. And it's just the most fun, incredible challenge to make everything come together.
Oh,
and it usually does.
Sure, you betcha. Was there room for, I always like to ask this, and I can't remember if there was room for improv in this case, because it sounds like you guys were seriously to the script, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So
we were totally on script, and Judy kept a rein on me. I have to give her credit, because she said, you know, you think this little scene or these few sentences are a little extraneous? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And she helped me to pare it down to its essence.
Sure, you betcha.
Yeah.
There was one part that I remember that was improvised, which is one of the funniest parts in my opinion. And that's where I dropped the coupons at the cemetery and Mark picks one up and says, ooh, shaving cream. I'll keep that one. That was improv. That was improvised.
My gosh. See, I would have guessed it would have been the sex part when, the stepmom was talking about the sex and all this jazz and stuff. And I was like, oh, they had to have told her to kind of push it a little bit, kind of emphasize on this and this. But it's kind of neat to be able to watch actors, be handed work on a written basis and have them do it verbatim. Because I got to tell you, I give you guys so much credit for being able to concentrate on the dialogue and get it right, because I can't even memorize 2 lines, let alone trying to figure out how to do a short film of any kind. You know what I mean? And I'm not that old, but it's like, it's a discipline. It takes work and it really takes dedication. And so I admire that, quite a bit as far as that goes. Okay, Zach, I'll turn it over to you because I keep hogging these damn panels. I'm sorry. I'm just.
But I will say in that vein that I spent a great deal of time writing the script. It really was months and months and months. And Judy and I kept bouncing it back and forth to each other. It wasn't just like, oh, let's slap this together. It was really methodically worked on and thought out. And the same thing with the acting. We had a tremendous amount of rehearsals. And with a small project, with an indie film, one of the secrets to having a great film is to rehearse, so that it's really tight. And we did that. We had tons of rehearsals.
Yeah, Judy's a stickler for rehearsal, and it really pays off because we see that in the final product. So everything is just so on point. She really believes in that, and presenting high quality work. And you have to put in the time, you have to put in the work, to get to that level.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
She does that. She does that with every project.
Sure. Okay, I lied. I have another question, and then I promise I'll be quiet. So I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, you have this lovely ensemble cast, and you get along so very well. All I keep thinking to myself is, there has got to have been some yelling going on this set. I mean, there had to have been some point where you're like, okay, no. Like, no. Or, no.
I don't think there was.
Really?
No, not really.
Do you remember any?
That's
Eric,
No.
Eric, unmute yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Eric, do you
You can't
remember
hear me?
any
That's
kind
Eric.
of yelling going on? Because I
I
don't.
don't think so. No, I think it was really pleasant, but that's one of the great things about working with these guys. We have a blast and we tell jokes and we laugh and we make we make our films, I think, as exciting as it feels along the way.
Oh, you betcha.
That's what we hope to continue doing.
Oh, sure.
there's more laughter than yelling, for sure. A lot more
Yeah.
laughter.
Oh, sure.
Yelling.
And on some sets, they're meticulous for saying that, because they're so connected to
Oh, I got something though. I got something that I thought was really kind of a surprise for us, actually.
Okay.
Now thinking back to it, and it was actually a fun personal moment for myself.
Yes.
Just so happened that this wonderful location that Judy reserved for us is this really cool Actors Temple. Is that the name of it again? Is that
Actors Temple
I
Theater.
think it's such a great location to shoot at because I think you have really just about the look that you need for any sort of ceremony, so to speak, and of course a little more Jewish, but it was like
a little
kind of perfect for us, and it also just so happened to be a day that the entire street was locked down for a shoot for Mrs. Maisel, and so all of their
Oh my God.
actually lining the street while we were doing our much smaller shoot. And I remember when we arrived, I got there pretty early because I just wanted to make sure the location was set and pre-lit and all that. The guy that's, I guess, running that location, he says, "Are these all your trucks?" And I was like, that's our truck, singular. and
Oh
I
my
thought
God.
that was basically, the start of what also became an interesting day when we realized, oh, do we actually have to tell the Mrs. Maisel people to be quiet at times?
Oh my
we have
God.
We did. I thought we did.
That is classic.
And I thought it was really awesome. I was, at the end of the day, getting one of these exterior shots of this really beautiful stained glass, and I hear this English voice, "So sorry, pardon me, and don't want to interrupt your shot." And I was like, "No problem. It's going to take a second, and you can walk by right now." And I realized it was Carrie Elway, who I've been a fan of for so many years. And
Wow.
and I just thought it was really funny. He started commenting. He's like, "I really like a nice shul." And I was like, "Okay, well, as my little conversation. And of course, that had to be a selfie moment, even though I don't always do it. I said, this is a rare one.
Oh, absolutely.
You and I are taking a selfie.
I gotcha. So no, I
So,
get
yeah.
that. And it's nice to hear that sort of thing because I've talked to actors that have been on sets and they're so close to each other, you know what I mean? Like longtime friends or loved ones, etc. And everybody has their point, you know, and I don't think people get how stressful, because we've filmed together or even separately. Set life is hard, you know, like if you've been on set for like 10, 12 hours, you're under budget or over budget in some cases, you're running out of food, you're running out of patience, shots aren't going right. And you're like, yeah, why am I doing this right now? So I can get where things can be a bit frigid. But it's so nice to hear that you had such a refreshing set where everybody's like really jazzed about being there and nobody's, you know, getting nitpicky or whatever have you. We need to work with them, Maria. Like, they got their stuff together because a lot of us are under a lot of tension on our sets and it's not really healthy.
Right.
But, you know, what can I say?
Actually,
It
I
was
hate
tough.
to say it, I have to run. So I
Oh,
hope
no!
you guys are having fun, and I'll try to join in again whenever possible. But
Oh, absolutely. Or
yeah,
are
I'm
you-
glad I got my spiel in there. So
Oh,
thank you for
absolutely.
that.
It's important just to have
So-
that little, even if it's small, you're still here. And I'll make sure to send you a copy of it regardless. But thank
Awesome,
you for
awesome.
being able
Yeah,
to come in.
absolutely.
We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
Good times, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, have fun.
Thank you, Eric. Have fun
See you guys.
tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, Eric.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye. See you guys. Great work,
Okay.
everybody.
Okay,
Eric's
Zach.
actually going to a barbecue like you're supposed to do.
Oh, yeah. Because on Labor Day, unlike those of us who are working right now, again, and some people have caught me being up last night, that 15-hour thing. One of the nominees was like, oh my God, you're up too? I'm like, I'm a founder. I have to be. Like, you're alive for 5 days solid awake. But Zach, I'm so sorry. I need to shut up. Okay, go ahead.
No, I would have to say most of the shoots are just really wonderful in terms of people, the relationships, and how smoothly it runs. But Karen and I are a couple, and we work a lot. Yeah.
Couple notice. So
Yeah.
that's an odd moment.
I
Like,
bet,
oh, where's the sound where I can make like a ding? Oh my gosh, we have a like revelation on here. How kick-ass is that? I'm so
I know you
happy for
probably
you.
thought we were identical twins,
Yeah,
but
I
we're
know.
not.
What?
Yeah, I know you're sitting there trying to tell us apart. I know. No, I'm just-
Okay.
But no, we are a couple, and sometimes it gets a little, heated with us just because we're,
for a couple.
we're like a married
Human?
couple.
Like human,
Yeah,
and you're
like,
like,
why
I
you
love
let-
you, but get the
like-
hell away from me. Yeah, I get it.
No, it's more like you're taking too much time with this. Let's get
Oh
moving.
my God.
You know?
Michael should be hearing this right now because I just said that. Like, oh my God, this is taking forever. I get it.
But it's the same argument we have on Friday night when we're trying to get out of the house.
But it's so cute.
You're not dressed yet. Come on.
We're chicks, okay?
Yeah.
Girls take a while.
Women need more time. We need more time.
I
Get it
know,
together.
right? And they
just
look
do.
mature and handsome, like they just get out of the shower and they're like all ready. And I'm like, oh no, I have to do my
No.
makeup and my hair, and it's 45 minutes later. And he's like standing there after 10 minutes and he's perfect. And he's
Yeah.
an actor and he's cute. He's just an actor. Ugh.
So you see what we have to deal with. Yeah.
Right? Welcome to the industry. Yay. Okay. Yes, Zach, you had a question or two.
No, I have nothing left now, Cindy. I'm just kidding.
Bad, like I just monopolized. I'm sorry.
No, you're
What'd you
fine.
do Whispering Hollow Road?
You're fine. So, my question is, Mark as, if I remember the credits correctly, director, writer, and lead, and then Judy as producer and lead, are there ever moments where you...
Uh-oh.
Oh, you
Oh,
froze.
you froze.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Could you say it again? You froze.
Am I back?
Yes, now
you
you're back.
You were
Oh,
talking
okay.
about were there moments that I believe that's where we cut out.
Interesting. So were there moments, Judy, you as a producer and an actress, and then Mark, you as a director, writer, and actor, are there moments where like one of those positions is kind of making you it as another position, or like, you're in the middle of a take and your director head is saying, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, I should be doing something else, but like you want to finish the take, or like, Judy as a producer, like, we need to move this along, but I know we need to do this at the same time. Can you just speak to the dual positions at once?
Well, I think we have our relations pretty well defined. I mean, when you're shooting a movie, it's like being at war. So you can only have one general on the set. That would be moi, the director. But of course, if there was a conflict or a big decision to make about do we get another shot, do we wrap, do we need something else, I would always defer to Judy because she was the producer. So, but in terms of making things rock and roll, I'm a take charge kind of person, and you have to have the captain of the ship to shoot a film.
Yep.
You can't have three directors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mark is in charge. Eric is a wonderful perfectionist, so sometimes he would just take way too many takes, and then I guess I would get involved and say, okay, it's getting late. We only have this location until whatever time it was. We gotta finish up here, but it was really not a problem. Don't you agree, Mark?
No, and it's also, there's nothing wrong with also having dialogue. Like, do you think we should get another take? Are you happy with it? And we often get a consensus between me, Judy, and Eric. Do we need another take? Or you think we have it? And I respect both of them, and if both of them said, "Yeah, let's get another take," I would go with that. So it's always a discussion. There is a discussion, of course.
Oh, by the way, I also wrote the story.
Yeah.
You left out just one of my functions, Zach.
Wow.
Just one.
It's important.
Judy wrote the story, and I wrote the screenplay. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So that ties into the next question that I wanted to ask, and now I know who to ask the question to, so thank you, Judy. And that question that I think you may have touched on a little bit, what was exactly the inspiration for this story? What did you draw on specifically to come up with this charming little tale of, family struggles and hilarious moments?
It was my father's real funeral, and it started out the way the film starts out, where my brother hung up all of these photographs with my father and all these people, but he neglected to put up a photograph with my father and his wife. And then when my brother gave the eulogy, which was like a stand-up act, and the fact that they were going to be buried one on top of each other, and all of these things, I felt like, I feel like I'm in a movie. And then it was like, well, if I feel like I'm in a movie, hey, let's make it into a movie. And then, so I basically had the structure and the events that happened. The end was fiction, that she meets someone and decides she wants to be buried in her own personal grave, and we put the black tape over the name. That was my fantasy. That was what I wish would happen. But Mark is the one who, totally writes the screenplay, writes all the really, funny dialogue. But the inspiration was definitely my father's real funeral, and pretty much everything that Mark wrote was true about my father. My father's wife did love to talk to me about her sex life with my father, but not in the way that Mark wrote it. Mark had this, sort of running joke about that she thought my father was younger because he made love like a 90-year-old, and my father always liked her to be on top. And so she was going to be on top in the grave. Mark wrote all that. That was not anything she actually ever said to me, but it was the idea of it.
That's funny.
So, Mark, as it sounds like you've been doing comedy for a long time, I'd love to just pick your brain quickly. What would be, some advice that you think veterans of the craft don't consider that they should more, and what would be your words of wisdom for people trying to get started in comedy?
Well, of course, it depends on, there are different styles of comedy, so it depends on what you're doing. and I think that's also very important, which is to define the style of the comedy. There's a huge difference between a sitcom, a romantic comedy, and something like we did, which was more like a slice of life family story. And but they're all comedies, but very different in style. And you really have to figure out what niche you're going to be in, so that everything is consistent and so that there's a unifying force in the piece, and it's not just all over the place. And of course, when you play comedy, the only way to play it as an actor is to be serious as possible and to be truthful. If you're truthful and honest, it gets even funnier. The more real it is, the funnier it is. There's nothing worse than a phony comedy.
Absolutely.
So you've made me think of a follow-up question to that. And one of my favorite writers, Neil Gaiman, his advice to young writers is don't necessarily write the genre that you want to because you risk becoming a copy of the things that you like. Would you say that that should be the same advice for a young comedian, or do you think if they think they're good at something, they should go for that style?
Well, yeah, I mean, you always want to create something from your gut and try to be yourself. But at some point, you just have to figure out, like, what ballpark am I playing in? Am I playing football, baseball, or basketball? You have to know what court you're on so that it all comes together consistently in a unifying kind of realistic way.
Sure. So then I guess my final question would be, I think that charm really is it can be such a just key element, I think, of a lot of kind of, black comedies, so to speak, like Death at a Funeral, for example, one of my favorites. How do you take charming sensibility, kind of running through the project? How do you take that from your
in
the project?
I lost you. You froze twice, and I didn't hear what you said. Could you just repeat that?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. So take charm from the writer's table, from the initial inspiration.
I still didn't get what
I didn't
was
get
said.
that either, actually. What's the last part of the question, Zach?
Just how you make charm a part of the project, how you infuse that into the actual final production.
Charm, did you say? How do we infuse charm? Oh, well, that's a good question.
You got a lot of charming actors.
Yeah.
Oh, good one, Judy.
That helps.
Well, you know what? I teach film acting, and one of the things that I insist on in almost every scene, no matter how tragic even it is or ugly, is to find the love in the scene. Even if you're doing something very dark and depressing, somewhere in that scene there's a primal relationship where there's love. And if you find the love in the scene, it makes everything you do likable and warm and more interesting to watch and more compelling. When people play negatives, it cuts off a lot of the charm that could be there. So
Gotcha.
it's my way of adding that extra warmth and zing to my work, is find the love in your scene. I have students who I give them a monologue to do in class where they're getting divorced. And I insist, and one of the things that really works is I say, find the love in your relationship, and the divorce scene will be a lot more compelling and stronger, and you'll be more likable as an actor. So, and it works.
That's a good answer, actually.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, here's a question we forgot to ask, which will be our final one. Judy claims that she has a husband who is involved in her antics, and I notice he's not here. So we just want to know, maybe you and Maria have imaginary husbands.
Well, mine isn't imaginary because you just saw mine.
Oh, I know. Finally, laughter. Like, how long have I known you? Yeah,
Right.
not a day. So it's been a while. And Judy's like hiding her husband for some odd reason.
He's camera shy. He works behind the scenes. He really did a lot on this film. He had a lot of good ideas. He basically found the music.
Nice.
you know, and then Mark chose the theme song for Myra, which was a great piece.
Sure.
And Mark came up with a few little script ideas. So he was really very helpful, and he's the executive producer, so you know what that means.
I do. That's even more helpful, isn't it, folks? When they just say,
right.
let me produce that thing for you. So yeah, I didn't think it would be fitting to, you know, have a full conversation about the film without mentioning the people that, even though, and I'm camera shy, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here. I mean, you know, it's no thanks to him that I'm sitting here, because I don't want to be here. He's constantly having to say, you're great, you're good, you can do this. So the pep talk every day, it helps. But I did want to mention your husband for obvious reasons.
And also Karen,
yes,
who is like a jack of all trades. I mean, script, makeup, hair, costumes.
Props.
What am I leaving out, Karen?
Props.
Props.
oh
And-
yes.
And script
And then
supervision.
I think we mentioned this once before, but Karen's a wonderful singer, wonderful composer. One of the films that we did, she wrote the theme song for this film that we did called Sisters Again, and her song was Sisters Again. And, you know, she's done a lot more work with Mark, but she's great to have around.
Oh, Judy, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's always so great working with you. You're a real professional, and I admire you so much. I really do.
Oh, that's so
Loving
sweet.
That's so awesome. It's so nice. They all get along so well. It's almost like that Hallmark moment. Like you just want to pass around like oh, that's so sweet. It's lovely.
Cindy, come join us. Join us.
Oh, I would absolutely love to. You know, I mean, like I said, we have to get through the awards night tonight. I'm very excited because I now know who's winning. I mean, I would lie if I didn't say that I'm excited for my guy to be nominated. I mean, this is his third time now. I'm very, very proud and very excited. But, you know, it's very bittersweet. A lot is going to happen, and a lot of people are going to get a lot of things tonight. And then there's this very lovely ending. That's coming. So it's very bittersweet for me. And I couldn't do it without that woman over there, or this guy down there, or that guy over here, or every one of you. I don't have a festival. I have nothing without the artisans that come to me, and they offer to allow me time to be able to show these beautiful works. So I thank you for participating. I thank you for continuing to show up. I thank you for your art. Your time, your efforts, and just your cooperation, and just the kindness that you've bestowed to my festival, trying to put all this together in the last minute. It really was a labor of love. I'm very proud for you that you've got your nomination. You were close to having a second nomination. You have no idea how close. So I feel kind of badly about that, because, you know, it was so close. But I am excited for you. I hope that tonight goes well for you. Regardless, all of you should walk away knowing that you've done a tremendous job. I'm very pleased with everything that we've had here. And thanks for coming on my red carpet. Zach, you are coming on at 5:30 for Michael's movie. My significant other, of course, screens in an hour and a half. His movie, if you can stomach it, he's, yeah, it's disturbing. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, and that's probably because I'm his better half. So I'm like, yeah, it's not right. It's a horror. It's a 24-minute horror, and then we're going to do a Q&A panel after that. We have another red carpet at 6:30. That's with the folks from, do you guys know the folks from Another Day in Manhattan? That was that movie we screened yesterday. Judy, you were probably there, right? Another Day in Manhattan.
No, and I would really love to see that film. I watched the trailer.
Oh,
and
it's
again,
lovely.
It involves mature people.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, I could ask Sandy if I could send you a copy. Or
Yeah,
link
I
to
would
it.
love to see it.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. And Gloria, the lead there, she is nominated, and Dixon is nominated, who's the lead male. And they're both mature adults and actors, and so they're nominated. So we're going to do Q&A at 6:30. 7 o'clock, there's a movie called The Builder. I'm so excited as my finished film. And then, like I said, we're hoping no later than 8:45 Central Time, the festivities will start. So come and join us if you can. If you can't, I totally get it. You're busy folks, but I'll see you guys at the awards. You in an hour and a half. And God, I hope I see you tonight. And if I don't, you have all your presents, and I'll get a hold of you.
Cindy,
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
this opportunity and for pulling this all together. And you do everything. I mean, it's just amazing. You have so much energy with all that's been going on.